On this episode, we're talking about selling to sell and selling to buy and mastering your craft. Hey everyone, welcome back. We're doing a quarter show. We haven't done one in a long time. I grabbed Ben real quick. We've been crazy busy. We thought we'd do a quarter show. So we're just going to be drilling down on two things that I want to talk about, and I figure I'd take the opportunity to capture it now. Number one, I actually ordered a car recently and did AC at my house and things like this. And there's two things that I really noticed is that in sales, I need to sell to sell, which means I need to follow up, I need to chase deals, I need to be organized, I need to put things on my calendar, I need to run point through the entire sales process from start to finish, right? I have to do everything. And you know, you can have your team, your sales admin and things like that help, but I have to make sure that I'm always thinking about the cycle from start to finish, going through that entire sales cycle to make sure that the deal actually closes. Here's what's interesting. As a buyer, I'm noticing that I also have to sell to buy things, which says something about the state of affairs of sales in the world today. In other words, I notice the salespeople aren't following up with me. It's not that organized. Sometimes I gotta check in with them to follow up, see where we stand, what's going on, is this happening, da 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 da. As a buyer, I shouldn't have to do that. A great would do all of that stuff for the buyer to make sure it's off their plate. And I think that sometimes salespeople think that it's a burden or they're pestering or whatever, but you're not. If you're great in sales, you're taking everything off their plate. You're giving them customer service. You're organizing it for them. You're running it, holding their hand and running them all the way through the cycle in a very seamless fashion. A prospect, a buyer, they should never have to follow up with you, ever, right? But I'm noticing when I got AC, I had to literally kind of move things along and make sure and da-da-da. And it's the same thing with the car buying process. And it's fascinating to me to think about that and to think that, in other words, the salespeople are so bad out there that you have to be an active prospect. Basically, even when you're buying, you have to sell. You have to sell yourself and run the whole process. And it's very lethargic in terms of what's out there in the world right now. So I just think that something for anyone who's in sales, don't be that person. Take it off their plate, hold their hand, run them through the process. They shouldn't have to follow up with you. They shouldn't have to kind of wait, what's going on, or checking in on this shit. That's ridiculous.
And from what I've noticed, part of being able to take that burden off their plate and actually do that job is understanding your own product and your own or your own service and your own processes thoroughly. If you understand them so thoroughly that they become very simple, and then you can speak with confidence. You know the answer. Like when someone asks, well, can I have terms, or can I have two of the product? Is there a package rate? Can I have whatever, any sort of, like for some of the product we do, some of the video content we create. Can I have voiceover? Can it have captions? Can it have text on screen? Can I have whiteboard? Can I include live shoot? Can I send you footage? There's so many different questions that a prospective client can ask, or even a client can ask. And the way to make a big chunk of making it easier, understanding your contracts, understanding what's acceptable in your contracts, having these answers ahead of time. And part of that, it can come with experience. It can come with understanding what you need to know, though, so that you can go and get those answers prior and because it's just professionalism.
And having your sales process mapped out, right? Like just having a methodical process. A lot of people have used to ask them point blank, what's your sales process? Just tell me what your sales process is right now. Maybe they can't.
The guy the other day that called me would be, well, my sales process is to get, I need to sell your CEO, but my sales process is to sell you first so that you can cheerlead for me.
You need to know it like this. What's your sales process? Tell me what it is right now. Boom, 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 boom. What is it? Right? And if you don't know that, then it's difficult to run point all the way through and make sure that you're handling every step for the prospect. It's hilarious, like with the car example, because I haven't heard from them at all. Right? Like every time I've heard from them is because I followed up. I think about that, I'm like, wow. and then people complain that their sales are down or that they're da-da-da. It's like you're order taking, like you're just order taking and going through the motions. I mean, we run such an aggressive sales show over here that you culturally just kind of get used to that, and then you're just always operating that way, and then you sort of assume that everyone else operates that way, but that's not what I'm seeing that's out in the market. And just right there, I think you could boost any company's revenue probably by 20 or 30% just by just optimizing and improving the sales process a little bit, the way they're operating or lack thereof.
If I come to Robert and he comes to me and says, "Where's this specific deal at?" And I say, if I say something like, "Well, the last thing that Fred said or Sally was going to go," like I'm cut off because he wants to know, what is the next step? What step are we on? Mm-hmm. If I go, "Oh, I'm selling them," well, do you have the right person? Are they sold? Is there a previous step is basically what he's asking. Are all the steps in? Or are you done with all the steps? Right. So,
and also where are we at? Like, what is it? What's our latest action and what's our next action? And how, what are we doing? So you always have to operate it that way because people are crazy busy. I get a lot of emails in my inbox. People are crazy busy, and you really can't assume that they're going to get back to you or it's fine or going to check it. That's crazy. Just really focus on controlling the entire end-to-end journey, and you'll increase your sales. The other thing I just want to dovetail into, and I think this relates, is we were talking about mastering your craft, and we were talking about greatness, and when you write that down, what is greatness? And I think that, again, there's only 1%. There's like the 1% salesperson, the people who are incredible, and when you see, when you come across these different people, and then there's everybody else, and you think, to me, one of those things that you need to look at is, are you just doing a job? Are you just going through the motions, or have you committed to becoming great? Like, have you actually committed and stated out loud and written it down that you want to master this? This is your craft. It's not a job, it's your craft. And when you start looking at it from a standpoint of your craft to become a master, right? Because to me, great salespeople are a real joy to work with. They're a real pleasure, and they're really professional. And some of the greatest CEOs in the world are great salespeople, right? They started as great salespeople and then escalated through that journey to become the CEO, maybe of a Fortune 500 company or any other company. But it's a commitment to greatness and your craft. You got to master your craft, and it's not a job. It's not a role like, I do sales. It's like when you take it to a higher level and you start with the decision to be a great, and then work from there, everything else changes. Yeah. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it. We haven't had one for a while. We're going to post this one. Hopefully get a few more out here. It's been a wild year. It's been a crazy year, I'm sure, for all of you as well. But we'll have more coming soon, okay? Thanks for watching.